Every morning begins kind of the same around these parts, and that always involves a very simple but very delicious farm breakfast. So this morning it's potatoes fried in lard, dug right out of the garden. Potatoes, not the lard, of course. So while I'm making breakfast, we usually sit around with our coffee and talk about all of the wonderful things that we have to do today, or not so wonderful chores, to-do lists, errands we need to run. But breakfast comes first, without a question, and coffee, of course. Today's to-do list involves cleaning up the greenhouse and checking on these sweet little ducklings that we have in there right now. But the problem with outside chores is that whenever I'm walking to do one, I get distracted by all of the things around me that are beautiful, that I want to look at and to take in and to savor. So everything takes me so much longer than it should. But I suppose a beautiful window box full of violas and coleus and snapdragons is a good distraction. The courtyard this year is full of foxglove and alyssum and succulents and some new roses. It's been quite beautiful to see it all fill in. Comes right off the dining room. And so anytime we go outside to do a chore, we always have to walk through this space. Point bang, I get distracted very often right here. The greenhouse is tucked down right to the side of our house. It slopes down ever so slightly and is at the bottom of a small little creek that we put in. So originally this greenhouse was supposed to be a place for me to grow greens further into the winter season. But what I found was I could extend the greens right in the beds with frost paper. And so what this greenhouse has turned into is a playroom for the kids and a little shelter for the ducks and chicks that we've been rearing all spring, and even some of the adult ducks that are still kind of fond of the space. But my hope for this space is to actually create some sort of an outdoor living space, a space with like upholstered furniture and a little table with wine bottles and a place where you could come and read on a chilly fall day or on a cold spring day, or maybe when it's raining, a place you could kind of tuck in with chandeliers and terracotta pots. But first things first, we've got to feed and water the ducks that will continue to call this home for the next few weeks, clear out some of the garden and child debris, and then we'll get to it. will say too, it has been quite the perfect place to rear these little ducks. It's safe, it's warm. The lavender that sits right outside the greenhouse is in full bloom right now, and that's next up on my list. But first up, finishing off the day with a little pea eating with Juliet. I swear these kids, they just fend for themselves. They can go into the garden. They know where the kale is. They know where the peas are. They know where the cherry tomatoes are, and the carrots and the raspberries. It's kind of like having a salad bar out all day.